Hi, everybody. Welcome back to a very special episode of Entrepreneurs. My name is Ellie. We are here with Live Hip Hop Daily each and every Thursday, and today we have Stanley Williams.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you for coming, Stanley. So he is an actor, screenwriter, voice actor too, right? Introduce yourself to the people. This is your camera right here.
Okay, how you all doing? I'm Stanley Williams. Like Ellie said, I am an actor, screenwriter, voice actor, microbiologist, a little bit of everything.
Nice. We can talk about that because I went to school for neuroscience. I did.
I knew we were rapping before y'all got here, and it's already like you see it.
Yeah, my mom was like, "What are you gonna do with that?" I was like, "I just have it." I'm just an accomplished woman.
Hey, listen, that's a good thing.
Multifaceted. So thank you so much for coming on the show. I want to let everybody know we're going to be talking about his new series, Triggered, and a series that is already out, and it's called Numb. And it's based on mental health, which actually comes at a really great time. Right now I'm going through a family emergency. We'll talk more about it on my next solo show. I can't do it right now. We already have tissue available if we're going to cry today, guys. So today is emotional. But we have some things to talk about. There's some things as entrepreneurs that we don't pay attention to emotional-wise. And there's things that you brought to light about Black men and how their mental health isn't perceived in the public, and it's not really talked about within their communities. Yeah. So we have a big show today, guys. I'm excited about it.
So am I.
Yeah, let's go. I'm excited because I feel like this is a great time, especially at the end of Black History Month. Mm-hmm. We just got finished hyping ourselves up, and we know next month they're gonna forget about us. So we're like, let's remember ourselves in this moment and remember what is important, and that is our mental health. And that no matter what, if our bodies aren't okay, guys, we cannot push this dream of ours, okay? If we have mentally broken down, you cannot push this dream of ours. So that's why we're talking about it. Mm-hmm. So I want to know, this starts with a lot of stuff. Let's talk about the science part
let's
of
start
you.
there.
Like, let's start there. Who becomes a biologist and then decides I want to make movies? Like, explain yourself, sir.
Explain yourself, sir. Well, I always wanted to work in science, and I actually work where I wanted to work when I was a kid. Wow. So I work as a microbiologist at the Center for Disease Control.
Oh wow, big dog! Yeah, I feel you.
Sometimes I'm living it, and I'm like, oh, okay, well. Yeah.
My job is big. Yeah.
It feels that way some days. But I don't know. 2018 rolled around and a friend of mine, we reconnected, and this is how I went from science to, I guess, screenwriting. Mm-hmm. And we reconnected in the line for Black Panther. Not the actual movie, but like the casting call for it.
Wow.
And it was a wrap from there. He wanted to start shooting. I wanted to start writing. We connected, and it became Mountaintop Studios.
Wow. That's awesome. Mm-hmm. How long did it take you to have this idea to actually making it Mountaintop Studios? So I know a lot of times we have these conversations, and we're like, hey, we should totally work together. And then 6 months go by, and nothing actually happens. I want to know how this actually took off. What is the timeline on that one?
So I'm going to plug him in right here.
Okay.
A friend of mine, his name is Enoch McKee. He operates Mountaintop Studios. That's his baby.
Okay.
And I think it took him anywhere between, as soon as Black Panther came out, we started rocking and rolling. We were shooting short films, podcasts, a few things here and there. And I don't know, he's got that dog in him.
I like that.
He got that dog in him.
That's what you need as a business partner.
And we've been going ever since.
Okay. What was your first rocky road like? Because the reason why this show is here is because a lot of people quit. Because during this entrepreneur-ish time where you're like, I'm trying, but I'm not really there yet, a lot of people quit. So,
all right.
What was your first rocky road where you're like,
It's around that same time. I was in grad school at the time working on my PhD. And for those about to ask, no, I am not a doctor.
I was going to say
Here's
that
the story.
This is why like?
I was working on my PhD at the time, and the research that I was doing, I didn't have enough data to support writing the papers that I needed to graduate at the time.
Okay.
So rather than continuing for another 3 to 5 years in hopes of getting that data, I decided, you know what, let's see where life takes me. And I left with my master's instead. That was really humbling for me because I am one of those people, if I start something, I gotta finish it. I have to finish it. And not being able to finish that made me feel like I quit. And it took me a very long time to see that I was rerouted. But
Reroute suck.
oh, do they? They will help. They will jolt you out of your nice little bubble so quickly.
Yes.
But that was the first time where I was like, okay, I have no idea where I'm going from here. I gotta figure something out. So, man. All right, y'all, I'm about to get personal.
It's okay. It's okay. Share what you want to share. That's why we're here.
You know what? I'm gonna be authentic about it.
Okay.
I actually had to leave the apartment that I had and live with my father for a while, which is extremely humbling, not only as a black man, but as a professional.
Yeah.
And I was
and
like,
you're grown.
as an adult human being, it was like, okay, good Lord. We're starting from the ground up now.
You said 2 years?
Oh, no, I said for the time being.
For the time, okay.
Good Lord,
How long
no.
did you stay?
Ooh, it might have been 6 months.
Okay.
No, but
That'll
still,
put a fire under your
my
butt.
God, it will wake you up. It will wake you up. But that was the first real moment where I was like, okay, I got to figure this out. And I got to figure it out quick.
You felt like you quit and you felt like I'm not living the type of life that I expected of myself.
Mm-hmm. So jumped back into the job market, started working for a private company in science. And then from there, Black Panther, screenwriting, here.
So are you full-time or part-time with
Full-time.
writing? Okay.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Full-time with science and full-time with writing.
Okay.
So yes, I am currently burnt out.
I was going to ask that. I was like, how's your mental health going?
Look, this is recharging me.
Good, because I'm having a similar moment. I'm in a space where it's like, I had to regroup. I said I really wanted to do my show, and I said I wanted to really focus on it. In order to do that, I had to leave my very nice luxury high-rise apartment to go live with my parents, and I hate it. I hate it. But everybody's been trying to tell me, Ellie, you got to remember your goal and just make it there. But no one tells you that it's hard to remember your goal. I was like, I really don't have words for it. I'm just telling you, no one tells you. That's it. No one tells you whatever, ... They don't tell you none of it.
If no one's told you, we're telling you.
We're telling you
it
right
sucks.
now. It's not fun. It's not a fun place to be. Because
But the goal.
Yeah, and see, I have to keep telling myself that. And even today, somebody had to remind me, it's about the goal.
Mm-hmm.
So you're uncomfortable for a reason, but if you were comfortable, would you be going after the goal? And I said, you know what? If I was comfortable, I probably wouldn't.
Big facts. Everybody who's made it there thus far has similar stories. They've had to go back and live with someone they didn't want to live with, or they had to sleep out of their cars. Tyler Perry, Steve Harvey's,
Cat Williams, all of them. All of them said they stayed in their car. So I said, for me, I was like, I don't know if I'm that dedicated to the dream. I do have my parents. I can't go stay with them. Let me go stay with them. But I had to go. I just have to breathe through it. That's the best thing that I can say. So thank you for being transparent about that.
Absolutely. That's what we're here for.
A lot of people don't talk about what they had to do to get their dream off the ground. A lot of people like to pretend, especially during that time, that they are kind of on the low swing. Like, oh no, I got it, I'm good. And we can't keep doing that, guys. We do have to tell people, yeah, I had to move in with my parents. That way other people don't feel bad about moving in with their parents, because
that's the first step to reverting the stigma.
Exactly.
Like,
we have to talk about it. We do. We have to talk about it, because if I think some girl went viral lately, and she was 31, and she was talking about her moving back in with her parents, and they were dogging her in the comments, and I was like, this poor baby was brave enough to
be
pivot.
Transparent and authentic with everybody, and that is the response she gets.
Yeah, but that's normal. I just had to go, okay, pivoting is hard.
Yes, it is.
But it is worth it. I don't know how long the pivot is. I'm just gonna pray it soon. Mine was not 6 months.
Listen, I'm looking at the blooming and the growth of your entrepreneurish podcast, and I'm seeing that.
You're seeing it? You know okay, cool.
Before we even got on, I was like, I'm already following your podcast. I didn't even know it.
I thought that was cool. Thank you guys.
Like,
hey, besties. What's up? No, that helps me because, you know, sometimes, like I said, sometimes your head's down. You're just looking at your goal and you don't really see the effect it's having. So even for you to say that you were having a moment, that makes me feel good because that was the point of doing this show, was to give people their moment. So let's talk about triggered.
Let's do it.
Let's talk about triggered because this is what we're talking about. We're talking about mental health, and we really want to bring that into your short film. So it's a journey through turbulent mental health experiences is how you described it. And the main character's name is Devin, who has professional and personal challenges, and he gets obsessed with, like, I guess his
coworker.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I was like, is this a hero? Who is it? Tell me a story, because this sounds so normal. A lot of us right now have people that we look up to, that they have something. And I love how you were like, look, obsession is a tightrope.
Yeah.
Like, you could end up too obsessed with somebody. So tell me about how you came up with this idea and a little bit more about the story. Let's talk about the story first, and then we'll talk about the idea.
Okay. So the story, just give you like a synopsis of everything is, Devin is a young man who has some undiagnosed mental health disorders.
Okay.
And he's not necessarily dealing with them just yet. And he gets a new job. He starts exploring that new job, meeting new people, but he's a little out of step with the world. And the person he ends up becoming obsessed with is somebody who is overtly charismatic. And I guess he sees something in that person, the charisma, the ability to navigate spaces in a way that he admires, which is harmless. You can admire a quality in someone, but it's that nature of, like, he finds that so, I guess, inspiring in a way that he just latches onto it. And when he latches onto it, it becomes obsession. That's where you tread that tightrope, like you were saying,
so
where it's almost dangerous.
Where he wants to be like him to a point where it's like obvious that he's. Yeah, I've seen that. We've all seen that before.
But it takes a turn at the end, and I'm not gonna spoil it for
I was
anybody.
like, don't spoil it. This sounds so good.
But you'll get a glimpse into where it came from.
Okay. So right now, I'm gonna let you do your plug for how they can help out with this, to see this movie.
Okay.
To see the series, so it actually comes to light. So
all right. So you all can follow me at stanley.j.williams on Instagram. We are currently working on the pre-production, which means we have an Indiegogo where we're raising funds in order to fund the cast, the crew, and the build out for everything that we're gonna do for Trigger. Again, my Instagram is stanley.j.williams. Please donate, share, reach out to us if you can.
Yes, you guys don't know how far a share will go. You never know who sees it. So if that's all you can give, please give a share.
That is more than enough.
Yes. I need people to know that about creatives. We created something. Please share it. Like, please.
You have no idea how much it means.
We don't care about anything else. Like, please just let somebody watch it. So how'd you come up with this story? Because it seems like, I was like, is this personal? Did you watch somebody start, following somebody around? Did this happen to you? Somebody started following you around, and then you're like, let me tell this story? How'd you come up with this?
So it's part happy and hilarious, part really, really sad. The happy, hilarious portion, it's a balance. The happy, hilarious portion is, I used to work so during that stint where I was living with my parents, I worked at Amazon. I was working as was it a security guard, or was it like, no, I was working at FedEx at the time. So I worked at Amazon as a security guard, then worked at FedEx as like a pusher, who was like basically pushing the boxes into the places they're supposed to go.
Okay.
And I had a colleague, and he was just the most weird person I have ever come across. And I was just like, this man is strange. But he was a little out of step, but he was so cool. And one day I'm in the facility. I'm just watching him work, and I'm like, I wonder how he got this way. Like he's a little out of step. He's not necessarily normal, which is cool.
Yeah.
But I'm just watching him like I'm a people watcher. I love people watching. It is so fun to do.
I like that. Me too.
But he's just I'm like, yo, this is a story. I need to figure out what the details are here. And I don't know. The idea just kind of materialized on its own. And then a friend of mine, when I was in high school, she actually she passed away from suicide. And that's the sad portion of the tale, where I'm like, her story is one of being unheard or feeling unheard. And because of it, I feel like that's something that I don't want, specifically black men, to feel. I want them to feel like, okay, I don't know how to express this the way that I want to, but if I can at least see that somebody else is going through it, it'll give me a route to figure out how to navigate it.
Okay.
And those two things kind of merged together in this weird way.
Beautiful
but
story. I like that.
It created the story.
I like that. That I started my show for the same reason. When I first started this show in 2018, I interviewed someone who did the same thing, and I couldn't understand why. I thought she was wonderful, but she kept saying, apparently, I got the story very, very small. I could tell you the whole story a little later.
I would love to hear it.
But basically, it's a very, very long story. My parents, my mom had a Tupperware party group. Do you remember those? In like the 90s?
That's
they
interesting.
used to do Tupperware parties, guys. They would go to people's houses and they bring Tupperware, and people would buy the Tupperware from their friends instead at the store. Like, that's how Tupperware got started.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, it's like house parties, like the same way people do Mary Kay. People used to do that with Tupperware. So my mom was a Tupperware lady. My mom used to sell everything. So that's really where a lot of this started. And she had these friends that she had this investment club with, and that's probably where I got this like entrepreneur thing in my head, because I watched my mom do it with her friends.
She got that dog in her too.
She did. I promise y'all. But these two friends, my mom had a birthday, and she invited them over, and their son was actually dating a girl, which is how I found her and how she found my podcast. Okay. So I was asking about her. I was like, hey, let me get an update, because it had been 2 years. And that's when they had to tell me the sad story about what happened. And then I was like, this was during a time I had quit my podcast because I wasn't sure what I was going to do with it. When I heard that story, the next day I started recording, and I haven't stopped recording since. And it's for her. And it's really because it's like, you are wanted. Yeah. You are seen. You are beautiful. But sometimes people don't
feel it.
Don't know.
Yeah. So
I want to ask you a question that a lot of podcasts have been talking about. And this is going to be my, what do they call it? Relatable content. Do you, as a black man, feel like you could share your feelings with a woman?
Whew. That's tough. I have several women who are my friends, who I feel like I could share anything with. Okay. Like, shout out to you, Caitlin. that's my best friend. But I also have like men friends. Like, shout out to Enid, shout out to Al. But in a relationship, I feel like there are expectations that kind of weigh on the ability to share. Not necessarily authentically, but like transparently all the time. Okay. Like, you want to navigate the relationship so well that it's like, I don't know if I can be all of me all the time. And that's...
It's hard, but I'm thinking about it, because I was thinking about it. I'm an emotional person, personally. In my business, I can't. Because if somebody sees me crying all the time, are they gonna do work with me? They're like, this girl cries too much. I can't work with her.
Same thing.
Right? Where it's just like it's just a lot for me to deal with all her emotions right now. I can't deal with it. So I feel like it's similar for men in relationships, where it's like, I can't cry here. This is a place where I can't cry.
Especially if you're expecting to lead the relationship. Like, when I let's treat it as if it's a business. If I'm working for somebody and I feel like they're not necessarily emotionally capable of navigating the day-to-day problems we may encounter, it makes me feel like I can't trust their leadership. So if I come into the relationship emotional all the time, inevitably it's going to be like, okay, I don't know if I can trust this man's leadership. Yeah. So there are parts of yourself you end up withholding because you're not necessarily sure that if you give those pieces of yourself all the time, that you will, one, be accepted, and two, be given the grace to lead.
Ooh, you said a lot with that one. Because my next question was going to be, what do you need from us? And it's really grace.
Yeah.
That's really what it is.
Especially now, where everything is so public all the time. Like any mistake becomes fatal. So, yeah, grace.
I would think about that because I would always say, oh, it's cool. You can say that. But then everybody would comment, no, you can't. I've done it, and my girlfriend left me, or I did this, and she started calling me all types of names, or wouldn't respect me afterwards. And I was like, women don't do that. You guys are lying. And then I watched it happen. And then I was like, oh, we are like that. Sorry.
And honestly, I don't think that's any fault of you all.
Well, so here's the thing. We want you guys to be open because we can tell that you're not. And that's that female intuition of, there's something wrong with that man, but he not talk to me.
He ain't gonna say nothing. Yeah, that's real.
And then you're sitting there because you want to be a partner. You want to give them, hey, you want to, like, I cry to my boyfriend. Like, I would expect for him to do the same, but I don't think he ever will, because if I cry to him, it's like, okay, I guess more socially acceptable. Yeah, exactly. And it's like, of course you're crying. You're a woman. You should be crying, right? But like for men, we don't give the same, like, we don't say you're human. You should be crying. We say you're a woman. You should be crying. And I feel like that's the problem. Humans cry.
And that's why I said I don't think it's any fault of you all. I think it's not even a cultural thing. I think it's a societal thing. Like, we have created this imaginary concept that men are more than human. Like, you have to be more than human to be a man, which is insane. Yeah. Like, you can't be the full encompassing thing that humanity is. You can be strong and be soft. You can be a good leader and be empathetic. Like, there are so many opposites that you have to be human. And if you deny yourself half of them, the quote unquote divine feminine half of those things, you deny yourself the ability to be human.
So it feels robotic.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that, because
absolutely.
This is we don't really give space for those answers. A lot of times it's a lot of back and forth, but I really, really wanted to understand that, because I know for especially for this project, what other mental health issues do you touch on? Because I mean, I'm sure there's relationships in there, but I want to hear more about, like,
now I think you're transitioning into the series itself.
Okay, yeah, let's talk about it. Let's do the whole thing.
Trigger is the pilot for the series Numb.
Okay.
And Numb is going to encompass several different, well, let me put it like this. The goal is each episode is going to be a part of an anthology. Okay. And that anthology is going to touch on the ways that black men express themselves when it's not necessarily, you're not doing the healing work. It's like, how does this mental health problem express itself when you're not getting it treated the way you should be?
I need an example, because I think a lot of times we just say, that guy's weird, or we just say he's angry all the time.
Exactly.
Or something like that. Explain to me a little bit more of how we could be a little bit more observant.
So, using Triggered as an example, Devin is obsessive, and it comes off as weird, but that's his obsession makes him a little out of step. A secondary episode is going to touch on drug abuse, where it's like, we talk about drug abuse from an extreme standpoint, like the hard drugs, but no one really deals with, like, alcoholism.
That's true. Especially in the Black community.
Yeah.
That's like you don't talk about it. Everybody got a drunk uncle, and we just don't talk about it.
And that's one of the ways these things express themselves. Like, you find your quote unquote thing rather than treating yourself in the way that would help you move beyond it. So each episode taps into a different aspect of how these things could express themselves.
I like that. Okay. And is it more focused on Devin himself, or are there surrounding characters we need to watch out for? Tell me more about that.
Oh, I don't want to spoil
Not
it.
spoil it? Okay. I have 3 questions then.
Come with
Does
it.
he have a love interest?
Nope.
Okay. Does he like win something? Does he come out? Is it a good or bad ending? I guess.
Depends on what you consider good or bad.
Okay, I like that answer.
It's mixed.
And the last thing is there a twist?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Oh, it's not a
All
good
right,
film.
I need
no
that.
twist.
I need that. I was gonna say that. Okay, we talked about this last episode. What is a Black movie that you've seen with the best twist?
Get Out.
Okay.
Without question. Get Out is top tier twist worthy, man.
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't think anybody saw it coming. This white girl who was like, so that's my man. Really, what's your brain?
And you know what? I have the best memory of Get Out. Like, I'm in the theater, we're watching it, and the ending rolls around.
Do you know what
the
got me?
blue lights.
Yes.
And everybody's like, oh, the entire theater is like, oh. And then it's his homeboy who pulls up, the entire theater, yes!
It was that scene and the auction scene when we actually realized
that is an auction taking place.
On.
Oh my
we
God,
like,
it was great.
There's selling people up here. Fucking get it.
So good.
I remember, and then another thing that's going around a lot right now is Father Pope, Papa Pope from
Scandal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and they're talking about how influential that TV show was for the fact that they gave Black moments like that. Because apparently no one knew that Black people feel like they work twice as hard for half as good. So Chandra...
That makes sense, though.
Chandra was talking about it. She was like, this scene was not supposed to be as impactful as it was because I thought I was talking about something
normal.
that was exactly.
Yeah.
And then she was like, no, so many people who I guess were not a part of the culture but were watching the show were like, that's not true. That's not true. And then they had to think about it and they were like,
yes, it is.
that's super true. Oh no, I'm sorry, right? That type of thing. And I feel like we keep talking about, if we talk about it, we might bring some light to things. So what is something that you decided was gonna push the envelope a little bit with this, where you were like, I'm out my safe zone type moment?
I was out of my safe zone the moment. Oh, sorry. I absolutely have to plug him in here. Joseph Lockett.
Yes.
He is my co-producer, and he is amazing. Let's start there. He is amazing. That was the moment I got out of my comfort zone.
Oh, okay, I like
Joe
that.
Joe was like, hey, man, what are you going to do with this? Because, like I said, I had been working on it for a year, but I had no idea where I wanted to go with it. But Joe was like, you need to produce this. And I was like, oh, I guess I could do that. And he has been right there with me. Everything I'm not good at, he's great at. Everything he needs, he's not necessarily good at, I'm good at. So we just we gel. And it works so well. Like, being here was his idea.
Oh, thanks, Joe. So that's what bossies are. Like, that's why I have that. When I realized, because I had my show, I was doing it by myself, that sucked. When I started to tell people, hey, I have this show, I need some help with it, things like that, I ended up over here. I ended up with a lot of opportunities. And so it was like, man.
Don't you love that?
What another person could do for you. So I think about it for running. If I run by myself, I'm probably going to do a little skip and step. It's going to be fine. If I'm running with somebody, I'm going to be like, oh, let me try to look like I'm athletic, right? I feel like it's the same thing when you're an entrepreneur. You get with another entrepreneur, you're like, let me try to look like I got some business about me that I'm doing some things.
And you realize you can run so much farther, so much faster. It's such an easy level up that we kind of take for granted.
How do you stay authentic in your bossy relationships?
Oof. How? I've gotten older. And I think that's been my key.
That's really
like
it.
my 20s, I spent a lot of time people pleasing.
Mm-hmm.
I spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to be what everybody else needed to be. Mm-hmm. Now I take a little bit more time for myself to be like, you know what? Do I like who I'm showing up as? Ooh. If not, I take a step back. Like if I'm not happy with the way that I'm showing up, I take a moment, I step back, and I'm like, okay, be you. If they don't like it, they won't like it. If they do, them your people.
I feel you. It did take me till I was in my 30s, but I was like, I don't care.
you learn not to care.
I just don't care.
Like, I'm gonna be me.
It's like, and it's freeing.
Because
then you're like, okay, now I don't have to hang out with people who actually kind of hate me a little bit.
And who force me to not be myself.
Yeah.
Like,
or make you do stuff where you're like, I don't want to do that. I don't fly fish.
I don't fly fish. First of all, that is really specific.
Okay. No, I had some friends who were really into outdoors things and used to love doing everything outdoors. Yes, they were.
So
they
you've
were
been
right.
fly fishing.
I never went fly fishing. I told her, I was like, we're pushing that. Going into that one. I will hike with you. We can go hiking. That's about as far as we're gonna go. You're not gonna give me no lake, and I hate white people. Let's do this. Never ask a black person to go to Lake Lanier. They're not gonna go. They're not gonna go. Watch the movie on Amazon if you really, really want to know why. But never invite a black person to Lake Lanier. Okay, just don't. That's
I'm breaking the fourth wall real hard right now.
Because I didn't learn. So I learned that it was a black city when I was in college.
Same.
It wasn't until college. So I was mad at my parents for taking me to this fucking sunken
the sunken place. Like, what? Hella crazy.
And then college, I was like, wow, people really do die on this every year.
Every year.
And then it started getting like more and more. And then it started to be like, that place cursed. And I was like, what are you talking about?
I absolutely believe it.
100%.
With 100%.
100%. All these people go down.
They do not resurface.
Do not come up.
Which is crazy because
How?
The thing about a body in water when you actually pass away is
it fills with gas.
And
I was like, scientifically, you should show back up.
That's how they end up finding people.
That's crazy. And they don't find them.
They
don't. I'm like, did you watch the movie?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
You need to. Okay. It's a $2.99 purchase, guys. Purchase it.
Amazon Prime?
Oh my God, yes.
Say less.
Let me tell you, I watched as a black director, so you're going to really like it. It was a black director talking about black horror, and he really had people pulling, spirits pulling people down in the water. I was scared out of my mind. So watch the movie, y'all. My next question is going to be about who influences you in your writing style, because I think as black people, we don't have a lot of directors and writers to look towards. We have a few. It's getting big now, but I want to know, who are your influences?
Let me see.
You have any? Are you just yourself in writing? I want to know.
I could sit here and try to flex all day long, but absolutely not. Even if it's not necessarily intentional. There are absolutely writers out there who have influenced my writing that I may not even know. Yeah. But I could absolutely say Donald Glover.
Okay.
Like his work on Atlanta, on the new Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
I saw one episode of that, and I was like, you switched it up a little bit, and it took me a minute to get into.
I don't know if he wrote. I think his brother and the Asian guy he works with a lot on Atlanta.
We'll look it up. Hold on.
I think they're also responsible for it.
Yeah, y'all keep talking.
But, let me see. Donald Glover. Some favorite friend.
The fact anybody who's black in Star Wars, I love you.
Oh yeah,
I love you. I was like, they even put Lizzo in there for a second.
They did. I forgot all about that.
She was randomly in one of them shows as like a princess or something. But I love it because I was like, when I was growing up, that was me and my brother's favorite thing to watch when we got home on Saturdays.
Yes.
And there was just white folks in there, but we used to pretend like we had like lightsabers and all this other stuff. We would be like, may the force be with you all the time, and we would leave each other. And then there was no representation. So when I saw, what is his name, Finn?
John Boyega.
Yes. And then it was John Boyega. Like, I have black people in sci-fi films. Like,
I
we need
have
it.
so many mixed feelings about this last trilogy
Okay.
because I feel like they
Okay, we can talk
fumbled
about
John so hard,
They
man.
did. First of all, how were you supposed to have a love interest and then just drop it? You just fucking
He was
drop the
supposed
whole.
to be a Jedi.
Not they made him a Jedi, but like sorta like.
Like, they didn't go all the
No,
way.
they didn't.
I was
They
like, yo,
didn't.
if they go all the way with this, it's going to be masterful. And they just pull back on it.
They did it because he was gonna be the next. Oh God, he's in every movie. The black man in every movie.
Who's Samuel Jackson?
Yes, thank you.
Mace
I
Windu?
can't- Yes.
Listen, you talking to a Star
Thank
Wars
you,
fan
thank you.
here. I love it.
So I really wanted them. I wanted them to do a Windu spinoff, the same way they did Andor and they did Obi-Wan Kenobi and the stupid boring Boba Fett thing. I was like, please do.
That's a story worth
Windu.
telling. That is a story.
All right, so let's talk to Disney. What's up, Disney? Windu. I want to be the executive producer. Joseph can get in on this too, but we're gonna do this.
I need that and the Old Republic.
Ooh.
I need that and the Old Republic.
No one thinks about that. Oh, we're like friends now. I don't think you understand.
Wait, we're just now friends? I thought we were already
No,
jealous.
it's just that we got like to the
We
point
just locked
where
in.
you can't get rid of me. That's what I'm
We locked in now.
No, because no one ever knows Star Wars like that. And they try to talk to people and they're
Please.
like, why do you watch that? Because it's good.
Facts.
Jeez. All right. I can't. They don't have, they just have directors. And Hero.
He should go back on his list. He only
Oh, yeah. I
Oh,
gave
okay.
you
My
one.
bad. My
I-
bad.
I-
Thanks, H.
Thank you. Thank you. He's right. I need like 2 or 3 more. Who else has inspired my writing? You know what? Who's not a screenwriter that's inspired my writing? James Baldwin.
Really?
James Baldwin.
Okay. And just his stature in his roles or
His attention to detail. Like, not even just like to writing detail, but like his attention to people detail. Like that, he is.
give me an example because I don't really know that about him. I know him from like, just being.
Like he's just, I can't give you a specific example, but it's just like the nuance with which he articulates certain
Okay,
things.
that's very
it's
true.
like,
I was like, you're Darth Vader and Mufasa. Like, you win. Like, you win. You win the role.
look, okay, let me see if I can give you one more.
One more.
One more. Who wrote Gladiator?
I don't know. And are you talking about the Tom Cruise one?
No, I'm talking about Russell Crowe.
Oh,
I
that
think
one.
that's
Okay.
2000,
I know exactly what you're talking
2003
about.
maybe.
Hold on, let
Whoever
me go
wrote that, I
see.
think it might be Ridley Scott, the director or the writer. Whoever wrote Gladiator, that was the first screenplay I ever actually sat down and read.
Oh.
Like went through and read, and I was like, this is amazing. Like there's so much richness in how they built this.
I think that's my obsession with movies and shows is that you guys are creating worlds that I'm like obsessed with, that I will like go talk to my friends about and be like, let's fantasize about what would happen in this particular situation with these characters. Now that's when you know that you have created something huge.
Yeah.
I have one question.
J.R.R. Tolkien.
Okay.
The Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
No, don't get me wrong. That is
Absolutely.
extensive.
Yeah.
That is like if you've ever seen the books in real time, like they are huge. They make Harry Potter look
Look minuscule.
like ridiculous.
I've never read through I'm thinking about sci-fi books. Have I ever like read through one? No. But I've seen there's a whole genre of black sci-fi books that I wanted to get into. Yes. I didn't even know that this was a thing.
Tell me more.
I didn't even know. I have a list on Pinterest. I will send it to you.
My way, I need it.
But apparently, like, black writers are starting to get, like, really seen. Same thing with, like, the wizarding witches world. There's a whole bunch of, like, black girl witches.
Tomi Adeyemi.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Wow,
I'm so sad. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Because Children of Blood and Bone, in my opinion, is about to be the next Harry Potter. Like the way she has built it out.
I couldn't deny it.
Man.
I'm ready. What I'm seeing now is I'm seeing that there's space for us.
Yes.
And it's like huge space and it's wanted. Even Disney did a series with a little black girl as like the main character, and they what is it called? Iwalu?
I know exactly. It's like futuristic Nigeria.
Yeah. And Legos. Yeah, it's like future Legos. I was like, since when does Disney give a fuck? Like, they made us a frog for a whole entire princess,
Or
so
a
I
lion.
was not expecting. Right. I saw 2 black movies are animals. So I was like, I'm glad they got the memo on this one. She does not shapeshift or none of that. She's just a black girl. So I said, thank God. It's things like this where it's like I'm seeing. When did you first see yourself on screen?
Oof. When did I first see myself on screen? Oof. That's tough.
I'm trying to think about the answer for me too. I saw like a black girl.
When did I
wanted to
recognize
be.
it, or when did I see it?
I don't know. Whichever one you can answer first, because this is a
First
hard
time I
question.
saw it was Zach, the Black Ranger on Power Rangers. Like,
Everybody wants to be the Black Ranger.
his mastery of martial arts was everything. I was like, this dude is kicking butt, and he's just cool. Like, and I look back on it now, and I absolutely see the places where it was like, okay, this is very token. Like, this is very token,
Really?
but
It's like, yo.
still cool. Still cool.
Okay. I think for me, sister.
Ooh.
They had curly hair. They weren't like the super popular girls, but they were still fun and have friends. And I didn't have like a twin sister, but I had a best friend that I used to hang out all the time with. So I felt like me and her would get into like hijinks and stuff like that. And then I watched them grow up and go to college.
Oh, when they
made me
changed
want to
the
go to
theme song?
college. Yes. But it made me want to go to college. I was like, oh, college looks fun.
Right.
You guys just go to coffee shops and stuff. That's not what it really is
it.
like.
That's not it, but it's got a couple of those things.
You go there for like an 8 hour.
Yeah, the other 8 or 9 you're in class.
Terrible. But I went to college for those sister scenes.
I went for the different world kind of vibe.
Oh,
Like, I was like,
yes.
I love this show.
I was like, I'm gonna have a whole dorm where I'm gonna love everybody. I hated everybody in that dorm.
You know what though? I wouldn't trade. Wait, where'd you go to college?
I went to Georgia State.
Okay.
When it first became a place to actually live on campus but I think the year before I got there was still a transporter school, or a school that people would drive to.
Yeah, I got you.
I don't know the words, guys. Sorry.
Like
Commuter college.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then they finally built like a freshman dorm, and I was like the first person to live in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, oh, it's all my people. We're gonna be together. No.
I actually loved my college
You
experience.
did?
I
You
went to
did.
an HBCU.
That's
I went
why.
to-
I should have done that. But see, no one.
Which one though?
Which
I
one?
went to the South Carolina State University.
Ooh.
Like, oh man, go Bulldogs.
Explain your experience, because mine was bland. How was your experience?
My experience was rich. I was so I'm a band, and I was in the band.
Okay.
I played trumpet, French horn, drum major in high school, then went to college and did drum major in college too.
Wow.
And then pledged Omega Psi Phi, and it was rich. Like, I lived with my best friend. My best friend is getting married in
Aw.
June.
Oh, congratulations.
We're still tight to this day. And I'm like, yo, I had a great college experience because it wasn't a different world, but it was the closest thing you could expect it to be. Like, my friends lived around the corner or across the street. I'm constantly actively doing things. And if you know anything about South Carolina State University, it is smack dab in the middle of nowhere in Orangeburg, South Carolina. First of all, it's called Orangeburg.
Right.
I'm pretty sure you get the memo. It's a little country.
Like, there's a tree out there with somebody's ancestor.
Oh.
That's how I think about the South sometimes. I apologize.
But it's
We
a
have
college
to,
town.
though. We will forget. I can't forget.
No, that is absolutely fair, because outside of South Carolina State and Claflin, which are the two schools right there, it's that.
I feel you.
It's
Okay. So I'm glad you had a
Definitely that.
space of your own.
Yeah. And it is a well-crafted space for blackness, and I love that about it. Like,
that's the one thing I
it's
wish
one of those
I had.
places.
Yeah,
where you just go back.
we were just in the cities, so I liked it because I didn't go to. Everybody else who I talked to went to campus like yours. I was not isolated, so if I like a lot of my internships were like at Children's Hospital, things like that, because I was in the city. Like you can walk down,
like right there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can walk there and be like, hey, you know, you got something for psychology students, and I'll be like, sure. That's the thing about being in the city. I also felt very grown because I was in the city. I had to navigate crackheads and things like that going to class.
Atlanta.
You know,
it is Atlanta.
So I got real. Get the fuck out of my face.
Listen, bro, I don't have it.
Right. I got real clutch a purse. I got real like aware of my surroundings because I grew up in the suburbs. So I had no
city
idea.
different.
I had no idea. I had to get real street smart. I think everybody would say that. They were like, you are super book smart. But when it comes to how people actually are in life, you know?
Crazy enough, I get that too. Like,
really?
My father, he's be like, he is very much so like, stop leaving your bag on your chair, on your seat.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I can see that. And until somebody take your shit.
yeah, until somebody take your stuff, yeah. Like, dang, okay, well, I guess he's right.
These people are awful. So for me, like I always leave my car open, especially downtown, because one time I was at a beauty supply stop because I live down here. So of course you gotta shop around here. So I just parked my car real quick. I was like, y'all,
hopped out.
I need some grease. I need it. So I hopped out, came back, and when I opened the door, they went through my glove compartment, and they took out like small stuff. Like they took my fan, and I had a snack in there, and they took that too. And I was like, damn. So I guess
it's giving crackhead.
Right, it's giving crackhead. But I'm glad they got to eat, and I'm glad my window wasn't smashed. And so I tell people, I know a lot of people are like, lock your cars. I'm like,
take your stuff.
Take your stuff out.
Yeah.
Because they're gonna get in there if they want to.
Yeah, if you ever been to an AUC homecoming, I'm pretty sure you've had a smashed window.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I used to do that, especially like at college parties and stuff. We would go all the time, and it would always be somebody at the end of the night, my car.
Yeah.
It still happens. Even because when I lived here, I would invite people to come out with me in the city, and then sometimes their car would get stolen into, and then they'd be like, you know, Ellie, I want to hang out.
I don't want to say I just like your city, but it's not on my top 10. It's not up there.
No, because my one of my cousins is from Dallas, so it's like real clean there. It's real nice. And when she came down, she was like,
Why so
"This
dirty?
is Atlanta." Like, y'all so excited about this?
That's how I felt when I first went to New
crackheads.
York. I was like, yo, it's real dirty up here, bro. It's really dirty.
And they just be like, ignore that. Same way we say with the crackheads. Ignore that.
There's more to love than there is to hate. There is so much more to love. You just gotta interact, you know?
Okay, so we're gonna bring it back to you and
Okay.
yourself. We got on a tangent. My question for you is, what would you tell your younger self, the one that was sitting there and going to class in Orangeburg? What'd you tell them about, this is life in my 30s?
Trust the process. Trust the process. Even if it's not what you want it to be.
Okay.
Because there are going to be twists and turns, and you have no idea where they're going. But if you trust the process, you trust that there is something bigger at hand, you'll be just fine.
What does trust the process look like for you? Because sometimes people say that, and you be like, the fuck does that mean? Trust what?
If there's something you can do, do it.
Okay.
If there's nothing you can do, let it go. Like, letting go of control. I'm a Capricorn.
Oh, okay.
So I'm very much so like, this is the way I want to do it. This is how I'm going to do it. I've set up my goals. I've set up the way I'm going to do
like,
it. Let's do it.
Touch it.
Don't touch it. But I'm learning that there is, I don't know what that concept is called, but it's like, I believe it's a Japanese concept where if a plate breaks, they fill it in with gold and to put it back together. Because there's beauty in the parts that you think are broken. And I feel the same way about this. Like the way I'm moving through life now. It's like, I don't have any clue where it's all going. but there's gold in the nuance.
I like that. I'm gonna take that with me because I'm having a hard time accepting some things.
I feel you.
So I'm gonna just say this is just a little gold paint.
Yep.
Just a little bit.
It's not even gold paint. It's gold.
It's gold.
Like, it is gold.
It's gold. It's gold. It's not even
It's
paint.
rich.
It's real. Okay. I'm gonna take that with me. Thank you. Last thing, when it comes to honestly pushing your product and pushing your movie in front of people, I'm gonna talk about how, because I know you have Joseph, but like I want to talk about like, or if he does it, tell me how it affects you, but how is it pushing your baby? Because I think like for me, telling people I had a podcast was hard in the beginning because I was like, do they care? And then it got easier because then I realized like it doesn't matter if they care or not. And so I want to know how is it for you?
Okay. I'm going to keep it real. Joe when we set up the Indiegogo, I was like, okay, Joseph is really good at networking. He's really good at, like I was telling him before I came on here, I was like, the people I admire most have this quality where they can take one thing they're working on and another thing they're working on and kind of just like let one hand wash the other. I'm not necessarily good at that. And Joe was like, look, man, if this Indiegogo is going to raise the funds we need it to, you got to push it too. And I was like, all right, Joe, I'm going to do it. And I let days go by. And I was like, I'm going to do it. And he was like, all right. And then we sat down. He's like, you sent it to anybody? I was like, I posted it on my story. I sent it to a couple group chats. But he was like, nah, man, you got to send it to individuals. Send it to people. Put your pride aside. Because at the time, I was like, I'm not being prideful about it. And then I had to sit with myself and be like, no, you are. Because what you're afraid of is that when you put it out there, one, people may reject it. Or two, people may be like, oh, you need help. And you don't want to be seen as vulnerable. That's pride. And I didn't recognize it. It's like there is a certain level of vulnerability you have to give to create. Like you have to give of yourself, whether it be in your writing process, in the filming process, in the Indiegogo process. You got to give that. Those are the dues you pay. And he was on me about it. He was on me about it.
As they should be.
As he should be.
Because it's the thing where it's like, I want this to go somewhere.
Do you?
But I'm not doing anything.
Do it. Do you?
Yeah. No, I used to hate that because in the beginning, people would tell me that. They're like, okay, well, you posted one time last week. Like, do you really care about your podcast? And I was like, I care about this thing. What are you talking about? And they're like, well, I don't know.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like it to me.
It doesn't
so
feel like it.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was like, that's what it is. But I like what you said. It really is pride. It's the pride of telling people, I do need you to watch this.
Yes.
Or I need you to participate in helping me make this happen, where it's like, all right, guys, I'm not perfect. I'm not put together.
No one wants to be seen at the starting line. It's ugly. It is so ugly. It's like, okay, I'm fumbling. I don't know how to do this. But you got to do it. And it's in doing it that people are like, oh, you do care. I can care now.
Yeah. That's what I realized. When you get consistent, people buy in real fast.
I don't even like Chris Rock. But he has this thing on a stand-up I saw years ago. He was like, if you get a flat tire on the side of the road and you wait, now this was years ago. Now they got like, somebody to pull up and help you.
Right.
But you get a flat tire and you just wait. No one's coming to help you with your tire. But if you get a flat tire and you get out there and try to change it, people are more likely to stop and help.
100%.
Like if you push in your car, they will,
Yeah.
okay, let me go help this guy. He's doing it. He's trying. And it's in seeing somebody try that people are like, okay, now I can put some skin in the game too, because you clearly have some in it.
Okay, so okay. Everybody take that in because it's a lot. Sometimes you really don't want to show all the actions that you put in to getting off the starting line.
Yeah.
Cause you're like, y'all get to see that sometimes I post things and no one likes them. Like you guys get to see.
But there was like 5 likes and like 6 views.
Right.
I've been there.
I tried really hard on that, but okay, I'll try again.
The algorithm does not love me.
Do you know what I hated? My most watched video was literally talking about how the algorithm didn't like me.
Cause it's
and
real.
And then it blew up, and then I was like, so I gotta talk shit about the thing.
This is what we call irony in the business.
But have you seen that with all these people
Yeah.
posting, I post every day with my 6 followers or whatever, and then they have 20,000 likes? It's because they're telling you that they have 6 followers. And then I was like, oh shit, I gotta tell people I have 6 followers. Like,
I'm gonna plug that in every video going
like,
forward.
I only have 6. Help me.
Please.
But I was like, it's that vulnerability. But then when I started thinking about it, I was like, what are my favorite podcasts when people are vulnerable?
Mm-hmm.
What are my favorite people to follow? People who are vulnerable. Like, think about how Cardi B and Tab got big.
Yep.
Being vulnerable as fuck on their social medias.
I
Like,
love political Cardi B.
like, oh,
Love her.
I was like, since when?
When she get political, I'm like, right there with the popcorn.
I'm like, thank you for saying this out loud, because the rest of us were a little scared to say it. I'm glad you said.
Keeping it a buck.
But I like her, and we like them because we know who they are.
Mm-hmm.
And then I said, no one's gonna know your podcast if you never talk about it, never talk about why you do it, and you never share like what goes into it. Because then that's the other thing. People start thinking it's easy to make a series. It's easy to write like
It's easy to do and host a podcast on a consistent basis.
And that's what they start thinking. Then you gotta go, wait a minute, what are you talking about? Who has it easy? I wish it was easy.
Blood, sweat, and tears, man. That's what we buy it with.
Yeah, this is part of it, huh? Just gotta deal with that.
Yep.
All right. Well, one last time, shout out where we can go to your Indiegogo and help,
Okay.
where we can share your clips. I'm going to be posting them at entrepreneur.ish.podcast, so go ahead and follow if you're not.
Thank you.
And then you have your camera.
You guys can follow me on Instagram at stanley.j.williams. The Indiegogo has, the link is in my bio.
Mm-hmm. And we'll be putting it in our stories and sharing it under this video. So you guys go ahead and like and go ahead and subscribe and comment, because we need all of that.
Please.
All of it.
Save
we need
it.
engagement.
Use the algorithm for us.
We only have 6 followers. That's not true, but it's like I want as many people to see what I've worked on, because you're like, this is a story to be told. Numb is a series that needs to happen. People need to watch Triggered so that they go, I want to see the rest of this. So we are gonna have a clip for you guys. We're gonna put it in my stories. You're gonna share.
Oh, absolutely.
I need you to post things too, because
if I don't,
if
Joe's gonna say something. He's going to tell me about myself.
I'm gonna text Joe and be like,
hey, did he
"Where's my
share it?
repost?"
Did he send it?
It's gonna be fine. All right, guys. So this has been another very special episode of Entrepreneurs. Today we were with Stanley. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. And we will see you guys next Thursday at 7 here at the Live Hip Hop Daily Studios. We'll see you later.